Welcome to the longest running, the original, the only trilingual Filipino-Chinese lifestyle magazine show, Chinatown TV. I'm your host, Candice Tan. 您现在收看的是非中电视台。A veteran broadcast journalist who lived and worked in China for more than 3 decades. Philippine Ambassador to China, Santiago Chito Sta covered the Tiananmen protests and crackdown in 1989 and saw the economic rise of China in the 1990s. He was among the first Filipinos to visit China in 1971 as head of a Filipino youth delegation. 菲律宾驻华大使七多三的罗马纳解决了许多问题。罗马纳大使是一位睿智、谦逊、温和的顾问，他能够平息那些由性子急躁的人所引起的骚乱。His work helped secure the much-needed weapons donations from China that saved us from becoming an Islamic state-torn country during the Marawi siege, when some countries tried to block arms we needed. The support that allowed the resolution of the Marawi crisis in 8 months, avoiding the decades of destruction experienced by other countries. He helped shepherd COVID and calamities assistance, billions of investments for Philippine development, and friendships to grow. Ang pagtatalaga kay Ambassador Chito ay isa sa mga pamana ni Pangulong Duterte. In the ambassador, we found someone who was not only fluent in Mandarin, but who deeply understood the cultural nuances of the Philippines and China, and also the other countries that are linked to the Philippines' national interest. This year, the Award for Promoting Philippines-China Understanding, or APPCU, recognizes all these efforts and relevant contributions by the late Ambassador Chito Sta Romana, and for being instrumental in maintaining a healthy friendship and cooperative relations between China and the Philippines. Let's watch this.
Besides the Hall of Fame category, which acknowledges the prestige and stature of the individual, and the immense effort of work the individual has done over time, as may be evidenced by the extent of reach, impact, and reception of the works by communities and societies, APPCU bestows the Gawad Sultan Paduka Pahala Special Award to the late Philippine Ambassador to China, Santiago Chito Sta.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and honoring my father. It hasn't been easy. In fact, it's been quite a challenging time for my family. However, the outpouring of love has made it easier on us. The support of family and friends has really helped during this difficult time. Before his career as a journalist, he was working as a writer with both English, and Mandarin. He learned Mandarin at the Beijing Language Institute, which allowed him to immerse himself in the study of works that required fluency in both Chinese and English. He worked as a translator for the Washington Post. After he studied at Tufts University at the Fletcher School of Diplomacy, he worked for the American Broadcasting Corporation, ABC News, where he covered Tiananmen Square and the Sichuan earthquake, for which he received 1 Emmy win and 1 Emmy nomination, along with his team from ABC News. He really believed and wanted to strengthen Philippine-China relations and focus on Chinese studies. He wanted Filipinos to understand China and for the Chinese to understand the Philippines. And he made the best of his life in China and the understanding that he gained from that to strengthen relations.
Perhaps the Philippine Ambassador to China, Chito Sta. Romana's legacy and best work were that of his dedication to promoting people-to-people interaction by sharing his appreciation, knowledge, and perception of China, and ideals in maintaining amity and despite disputes through diplomatic means and channels, considering that China and the Philippines share important historical roots.
Well, growing up, he's been sharing about his experiences in China, in exile in China, and I've only come to understand it now that I'm older, and why it was so important to him. During this time in exile, he immersed himself in the Chinese culture, and with that experience, he was able to build a relationship between China and the Philippines with his role as ambassador, along with his team. So he's seen how it works from both ends, and he wants to be able to bridge and share that understanding of both cultures with the Filipino people. China for him, in addition to being where he worked and lived for many years, it was his second home. In his last visit here to the Philippines, he joked about his role being one of the most difficult posts in the Foreign Service. So the fact that he was able to strengthen the relationship makes me both inspired and so proud of him. He left behind a legacy of understanding and cooperation, and I hope that the succeeding ambassador to China will continue the relationships he's built over his term as a diplomat. I know he'd be very honored and truly grateful to have his work be recognized in such a significant way. And I believe he would highlight what he said in an interview that he submitted for a book a few days before he passed away on how he would like to be remembered. I quote, "To have played a frontline role in building a bridge of friendship and cooperation between Filipinos and the Chinese that transcended differences and contributed to regional stability and prosperity. After all, what is diplomacy for if not to serve the people and promote the country's interests?" I want him to be remembered for his love of country, the Philippines. Although he's always associated with his extensive knowledge of China, we must not forget that it's his love of the Philippines that resulted in him living the way he did. His love of the country was felt by those who knew him well. And the very fact that he accepted this challenging post of being a Philippines ambassador to China at this time is proof of this. He's been such a caring father, a knowledgeable mentor, a supportive friend, a humble man, and no matter what, his heart was always in the right place. So that's how I'd like him to be remembered.